This week's blog post is another in my 5 favorites series. These are the 5 works that I most like at the Museo Archeologico Nazionale in Naples, Italy. In 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius, just north of Naples, erupted with devastating effects on the towns of Pompeii, Herculaneum, and Boscoriale, which had been built on Vesuvius's slopes as vacation retreats. The wealthy residents had decorated their homes with copies of Greek sculptures, lavish mosaics, and frescoes. Today, the art found under the debris of Vesuvius is among our best source for how Romans lived. The frescoes also provide most of our information on large-scale painting during the Greek and Roman eras. See Innovators in Painting, chapters 10 to 14. Some of the most spectacular works at the National Archeological Museum in Naples, including the first, second, and third items below, were found beginning in the mid-1700s in excavations of Pompeii, Herculaneum, and Boscoriale. The Doryphoros, or spear-bearer, a Greek sculpture whose original dates to about 450 BC, is famous as an early example of contrapposto. The sculptor represented the body as an organic whole by showing that a change in one part, a shift in weight, always leads to changes in the rest of the body. See Innovators in Sculpture, chapter 3. The Romans seem to have liked the Doryphoros' head even without the body. From Herculaneum come Roman copies of the head in bronze and marble, as well as a full-length copy. Which one do you prefer? These are copies made manually, so there are slight differences. Second, the Alexander Mosaic. This mosaic, excavated at the House of the Faun in Pompeii, is as close as we get to an ancient painting. It was probably adapted from a painting that had been done by a major artist. I use it in Innovators in Painting to illustrate asymmetrical composition. Serendipity is a wonderful thing, but sometimes you need to do your homework beforehand. I had a few hours at the end of a day to visit the Archeological Museum in Naples, and I had no idea that the original of the Alexander Mosaic was there. By the time I reached that gallery, the guards insisted on shooing me away, so I didn't get to visit it. Third favorite, young Hermes, or Mercury, seated on a rock. This elegant figure, which is identified as Hermes or Mercury by his winged sandals, was probably intended for a garden. It's designed to sit on a rock. The work is probably a Roman copy of a Greek original dating to the late 4th or early 3rd century BC. It's often associated with the 4th century BC sculptor Lysippus, who was notable for his innovations in sculpture. See Innovators in Sculpture, chapters 4 and 6. The Hermes became one of the most famous works excavated at the Villa of the Papyri in Herculaneum in 1758. My fourth favorite is the Farnese cup. This cameo cup, which is about 8 inches, 20 centimeters in diameter, was carved from sardonyx agate. The scene on the inside seems to be an allegory that incorporates divine figures. No other version of this scene is known, and the interpretation has long been disputed. This one makes the cut not for the subject, but just for the workmanship. It's very, very difficult to carve a cameo this size, this excellently. On the outside of the cup is a Gorgon's head, which is a protective device, wards off evil. The Farnese cup has always been recognized as a valuable work due to its size. The Farnese cup has always been recognized as a spectacular work. It was probably carved in Hellenistic Egypt sometime between 300 and 20 BC. Eventually it was taken to Byzantium, then it was brought back to Europe in 1204 when Constantinople was sacked during the Fourth Crusade. After stay at the court of Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II in the early 1200s, it was carried off to the Persian court, but it was brought back to Naples by the mid-1400s. In 1471 it was in Florence, having been purchased by Lorenzo the Magnificent, Lorenzo de' Medici. After that it was purchased by a member of the Farnese family, most of whose collection is now in the Naples Archeological Museum. And the fifth favorite is Donatello's bronze head of a horse. For years scholars debated whether this was a Greek original or a work by Donatello of the Renaissance, early 1400s. Documents found in 2012 proved it was indeed Donatello's. For an absolutely fascinating story about Naples and the huge horse sculpture that preceded this one, I've given you a link. Donatello is one of my all-time favorite sculptors for his mind. He rethinks every subject that he presents. See Innovators in Sculpture, Chapter 8, on why he's so remarkable. And one piece that almost made the list, this is a mosaic from Pompeii. It shows a group of musicians, which includes a horn, a double flute, cymbals, and a drum. DianeDuranteWriter.com has hundreds of posts on sculpture, painting, architecture, and my other obsessions. To join the free Sunday Recommendations email list, visit the URL that is on the screen or email me. And you can say, "Well done, Diane," or support my work and receive rewards by means of the tip jar on DianeDuranteWriter.com. As always, thank you for listening.